Hi Dorian, here's a story about my second job at the cafeteria of purposely vague college in Springfield, Missouri. I worked there in the years 1991 and 1992 from August to May. Also included in this story will be the years 1992 and 1993 from August to May as well. I was 17 and 18 years old during these tales. Aside, I am not mentioning the specific college I went to here because I don't necessarily wish to be affiliated with the institution for various reasons, primarily my own emotional ones. I remain coy and vague about it when asked directly because I just don't want to claim and perpetuate the assumptions and emotions connected to that decision of why I attended there, why I chose to stay, etc. I usually refer to other universities in the same town to throw people off the trail and to satisfy the basic niceties of polite conversation. The whole thing makes me a little uncomfortable. I'm sorry, my own emotional issues. I understand now that going there was most likely a choice of destiny, and the events and timelines that originated there led to significant moments in my life story. But I don't want to give the school any opportunity to take credit for those things, as these institutions sometimes will do. I took classes, I had teachers, blah blah blah, I graduated, or did I? Ultimately, I believe the social and psychological experiences and ramifications were probably far more significant than the academic ones anyway. So even though the actual truth may be easy enough to get to, and perhaps many of the details may provide obvious clues to the identity of the school, I prefer not to specifically mention names, much like I don't specifically reference past relationships regardless of their continuing impact on my life and personal network. Now, back to the tale at hand. I chose that job because I qualified for a work-study position, and the guy I met in my dorm worked at the caf, as we called it. Later on, this guy became one of my best friends, and he seemed cool, and the position was available, so I took it. In light of the previous paragraph about my choices, perhaps it was my destiny to work there all along. Anyway, our first task was to set up tables for a picnic as part of the back-to-school week, and after that I was primarily tasked with keeping up with the beverages and snacks in the dining areas of the cafeteria. Replacing the 5-gallon milk bags, replacing the soda syrup packages, filling up the lemonade and tea dispensers, refilling the cereal dispensers, etc. Since I was not afraid of talking in front of people, I was a communications major after all, I would make announcements on occasion as they were needed, and one time I introduced a student-based rock band that was playing a dinner time set. I was enrolled in a speech class that semester, and we had recently completed a lesson concerning the use of unnecessary cliches during speeches. And one item that I picked up on was the general phrase, "And now for a person who needs no introduction, ... So my professor's point was to say that if a guest truly needed no introduction, then a public speaker wouldn't be needed to provide one. Aha! So, in true wise guy style, as I was bringing the band back to the stage after their intermission break, I held up the microphone and said, "And now, a band that needs no introduction!" And then I just put the mic back and walked away. The band members kept whispering the name of the band, which was Portly Children, by the way. But I kept walking and said, "You need no introduction, dude." I don't think they agreed with me, even though I was pretty much right. They were the only band playing. There were several posters, and people already knew their name. Plus, he said it again as soon as he took his place at the microphone. I did find the practical application of lessons learned in classes was not necessarily something at the top of many students' agendas during college, both then and now. I would continue to encounter that truth during my college years, woven as a thread through my various major fields of study. I did not have to drive to that job, though I did have the '78 Mustang on campus that year. I got to know a lot of people while working there as I became a regular feature of the college dining experience. During my first year, I worked 2 or 3 shifts per week at a rate of $5.25 an hour. I think my paychecks were less than $100. I was not very money motivated. I preferred free time and socialization to responsibility and preparing for the future. Most of my free time was spent in the gym, playing basketball or lifting weights. I probably maintained that general schedule my first 2 years of college before I started picking up more shifts at different times. There were some adult staff members and managers along with student assistant managers. I remember the general manager's appearance, but not his name, though it might have been something like Gene. I'm not sure if I remember the student managers from my freshman year, though my friends Darren and Joel were definitely managers as upperclassmen and probably started those positions as freshmen too. I did not have a specific uniform, but probably wore jeans and a t-shirt each shift. I left that job when school ended in mid-May. I worked in the summer in Indianapolis and returned to the same position my sophomore year. Not sure that year 2 is terribly different from year 1, so I'll say that this still counts as one job for the purposes of this video or story presentation, though in truth the second time around may have been my 4th or 5th job. I guess we'll see in the next videos. Perhaps the main lesson learned from this job, however, was that if you don't work, you don't earn much money. Otherwise, I had a good time there and considered it a pretty good place to observe most of my social group and the various arms of the greater college social scene. So that's job 2 and 6. Many more to come. Thanks for watching.